Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about the film The Last Showgirl. Fun fact, director Coppola referenced a shot from Michael Bay's Transformers 2, which uses old light tricks where you spin lights outside of the camera. This film came out in 2024 and stars Pamela Anderson, Brenda and Kiernan Shipka, and was directed by Coppola. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. The Last Showgirl follows Shelley, a seasoned showgirl who must figure out what her future has in store for her after the show she's been dancing in for 30 years abruptly closes. The Last Showgirl is a drama. It has similar vibes to Showgirls, Burlesque, or The First Wives Club. The Last Showgirl caught my eye because I kept seeing people talk about Pamela Anderson's performance, and it made me realize I had never seen her act in anything, so I wanted to check it out. Going into this film, I didn't watch any trailer, so I truly went in blind, so much so that the cast even surprised me because I had no clue all of these people were in it. The plot deals with aging, and it was interesting to see it through the eyes of this showgirl. Pamela Anderson plays Shelley, a showgirl who is in shock that her dream career is being cut short and doesn't know what to do next. When watching, it reminded me of how hard aging is for women and how society judges them so harshly for something that is so natural. In media, I've seen throughout history either the lack of roles women get as they age or often playing mom or grandparents, which oftentimes is not the same for their male counterparts. This film seems to highlight this because the performers for the new shows need to be young and sexy, which is not what Shelley wants, and they aren't looking for older women, so they just get overlooked and pushed to the side. Shelley loves being a showgirl and really believes the show is a descendant of similar shows in Paris. She has given up so much to do what she does, and there is a disconnect with the younger girls because they seem to do it just because they need a job, while she does it purely out of love. She has a daughter whom she has a strained relationship with because she was an only parent and left her daughter in the car often while she did shows. We come to find out that her daughter's dad is Eddie, who is the producer of the show, and he doesn't really want to be involved, and both of them judge her harshly, which sucks because everyone has their flaws. Besides showing how hard aging is for women, Shelley also lets us see how hard it is to chase your dream when you're not 100% in control of your own fate, and how you might have standards you don't want to stoop below, but you might have to in order to survive. I love that in the end we see her finally getting to be a star, and we see how happy she is on stage in her last performance as a showgirl. Through Shelley's experiences and Annette's, we see how society discards things that are deemed old. It was sad to see because they both enjoyed being showgirls, and it seemed to be the thing that brought them the most joy, and it was ripped away from both of them. Shelley is still in the show, but Annette is not, and she's struggling to keep a place to live and also trying to keep her job, even though they are trying to replace her with younger girls. The movie offers an interesting view on aging because we see different women in the movie at different ages trying to figure out what to do next and how hard it can be as these new jobs want young and sexy, and the women who are older are thrown to the side because society doesn't appreciate how iconic the showgirl was in Vegas, and these women have no choice but to try and keep up or they will be jobless and possibly homeless. It's interesting to see how the older you get, the harder it becomes if you need to find a job, and how you might have to do something you don't want in order to survive because someone else is in control of your fate. The cast of this film was amazing. Pamela gave a stellar performance, and we just see how she's holding on to this dream to the very end and knows the importance of the show, but unfortunately that doesn't bring in money. Jamie Lee Curtis is this older former showgirl who is working to survive, but misses the days of her being in the show. She was funny at points, but to me it seemed like she was that way to hide how much sadness she felt with not being able to be a showgirl, as well as her struggling to make ends meet. Brenda Song is another showgirl who seems to be in the middle. She understands where Shelley is coming from, but also understands where Jody is coming from, and knows she has to survive once the show is over and move on. Jody, who is played by Kiernan Shipka, is young, and from her showing up at Shelley's house late at night, I gathered that she ran away from home to do this job, but with the show closing and her not having a job lined up, she is scared and sees Shelley as a mom and goes to Shelley for help, and Shelley can't deal with it at the moment. Her character gave a bit of foreshadowing when she said Shelley was like the mom and Eddie was like the dad, because we later find out that they have a kid together. Dave Bautista plays Eddie, who cares about the girls but also does not have much say in the future of the show and tries to help out wherever he can, except for taking care of his daughter. Billy Lord plays Shelley's daughter, who at first I thought was a former coworker, until we learn more about her and see how Shelley kind of gave her up but tries to keep in contact with her. Shelley believes she did what was right, but Billy's character doesn't agree with it and doesn't think the show was worth ruining her childhood. It's interesting to see all these characters interact with each other, especially Shelley, who is the main connecting piece, trying to keep everyone in good spirits while she tries to avoid the inevitable, which is the show closing. The movie is filmed on film, which is interesting since a lot of films are filmed on digital now. It reminded me of one of the themes of the movie about how when things get old, we discard them. And I think filming this way shows that just because things get older doesn't mean they should be discarded, and shows they are still useful and can have a great outcome with it. I loved how the film looked a bit grainy, which helped portray the timeline and made it look like a throwback, like you were watching a movie that was filmed in the early 2000s, even though it was filmed more recently than that. There are many choices filmmakers make when filming, and what camera to use is one of them, and it helps them with how they want the movie to look and what they want the viewer to feel when they're watching this movie. I must also add that Miley Cyrus and Andrew Wyatt's song Beautiful That Way was a great addition to this movie. The lyrics mirror the movie and how Shelley put on a brave face and tried to keep going instead of giving up. It also seems to address times changing and how you should remember the golden days, but also that those days might be over. Miley's voice sounds beautiful, and the song feels like it could be in a showgirl performance. My favorite part of this film is how it starts off with an event and then the story goes back in time a bit. And then towards the end of the film, we revisit this event where we started with more information as how we got there and see how it doesn't go as Shelley planned. I love being able to see what got us to that moment and why she was auditioning in the first place and how hard it was for her to even go to this audition because she felt the showgirl had importance, and in that audition felt that she was being pushed aside because she wasn't sexy or young enough. She has a breakdown after the performance, and we see all the stuff that she's been holding inside. Her sadness for the show ending, the stress of everyone viewing her as a mom of the group, and her uncertainty, dealing with like her future and how she's going to survive because these shows aren't looking for older women. It was sad because it shows how age is something that happens naturally, but for Shelley and others, we see it as something that some people see as a difference when hiring someone to do a job, even though they have the experience. And it's not a negative, it's just life. The Last Showgirl is a great film with a lovely cast. I feel like too often films like this are too long, but the runtime was perfect to show the story that GM wanted to show. The performances surprised me, and the story really had me thinking about something that has become so normal in our society and seeing how it affects individuals. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do so you can keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.